Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world watching this. I am Minister Franklin Jr. and I'm your host in the Faith series with Franklin Obiago. And this episode, we are going to be discussing on the theme Demystifying the Works of the Flesh. There are several topics under this theme, and on this particular episode, I'll be treating the works of enmity and strife. Our theme is taken from the Bible verse, Galatians chapter 5, verse 19 to 21, where it talks about the works of the flesh. But we are trying to elaborate and expatiate on these works of the flesh. So I'm going to be taking the works of enmity and strife. So stay tuned. So what's enmity? What's enmity? Enmity is the manifestation of aversion, openly displaying hatred towards one another. Yes. And in simple terms, mean hatred for one another. So God doesn't want us to hate one another. In fact, the factor of Christianity preaches love over hatred. Okay, I would like to say this before I get into the teaching for today. Enmity is in two phases. Enmity is in two phases. One, it is enmity within and enmity without. So, the enmity within is the factor where the devil wants you to hate yourself. The devil wants you to look down on yourself, to not enter into the potentials God has destined you to be. Now, the enmity without is the enmity you have against your brother, you have against your friends, people outside. And you see, these two, both the enmity within and the enmity without, these are factors that hinder us from coming to the potentials God has destined us to be. And that's why we are discussing these works of the flesh, the works of enmity and strife. Enmity within, like I said, is hatred for yourself and looking down on yourself. That's what the devil wants. He wants you to look down on yourself. He wants you to not believe in yourself. He knows the potential that God has put into you. He knows the work, the investment that God has put in your vessel, and he wants to limit it. That's why he wants you to look down on yourself, look down on everything God has endowed you with. No, do not look down on yourself. I looked down on myself and I was like, how can I get over this? By the special grace of God, I have gotten over that. But that's what I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you the secret. The devil doesn't want you to come into that plan, that original plan that God has destined you to be. So you have to be alert. Do not hate yourself. Believe in yourself. Look in the mirror and say, I'm blessed. I love God, I love myself, and I know who I am. Just say it. You can say it right now. You say, I know who I am. That strengthens your conviction. That strengthens your authority over the devil. Yes, now let's go over to the enmity without. Enmity without is the hatred towards, your fellow brethren. And God's law and God's commandment is that we love him and we love our neighbor. If we say we love God and we do not love our neighbor, we are liars. Yes, and that's why hatred is also a work of the flesh, because it is against God's principles, it's against God's law. It's not what God expects of us, and so we must love one another. The first factor in enmity is not that you even hate others, is that you hate yourself, is that you cannot accept yourself, is that you do not believe in yourself. I had that challenge. Growing up, the devil made me to feel less of myself based on the sin I was struggling with. But at the end of the day, I got to understand that the devil is trying to trick me, trying to make me to, underestimate myself. Meanwhile, I know that God has put so much potentials in me, and as well as you, God has also put so much potential in you, and you can't afford to hate yourself. You can't afford to have low self-esteem about yourself. You can't afford to look down on yourself and look down on the gift God has given you. You can't look down on those gifts. That's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to look down on those gifts, but don't look down on those gifts. Strife, on the other hand, is an outward mutual conflict between persons, who has sentiments. Who has sentiment? So sentiments bring about strife, and so it is a work of the flesh. Know that it is a work of the flesh, because God doesn't want us to keep malice. God doesn't want us to be in strife with anyone. We should live peaceably with everyone according to scripture. And so strife is a deadly work of the flesh. I had that issue also while growing up. I kept malice. I loved to keep malice, but when the Spirit of God helped me, I thanked Him, because I know that I had issues with anger. I had issues with malice, with strife, with enmity, with hatred, all of these things, jealousy, pride, as well as many others. You can name them. So, but our concentration here is on enmity and strife, and we've established that enmity is enmity within and enmity without. So the devil doesn't want you to grow into that potential, like I established and said. Strife is equally the same thing, but it's in the form of sentiment, in the form of malice with one another. So these things for me are old-fashioned. These things should be old-fashioned for you. Yes, as it is old-fashioned for me as a believer, as a Christian, as a true believer who has received Christ, it should be for you too also. Having said that, we need to love God according to scripture. He said, love the Lord with all your heart. Yes, that's the first commandment, and that's the greatest, as well as loving your neighbor. Once you love your neighbor, you cannot, live in enmity with him. You cannot hate that person. You cannot be in strife with that person. You cannot keep malice with that person. You would, maintain the brotherhood. So I'm encouraging you as a believer, as a Christian, learn to forgive, learn to let go. All of these things, enmity, unforgiveness, are old-fashioned. I tell you the truth, I've done those things, and I'm telling you out of experience, these things do not profit anything. It doesn't profit, it doesn't have any value. So, focus on God, love the people, love everyone, and esteem all men. So, till I come your way again for another faith series under this theme, please watch out. Under this theme, demystifying the works of the flesh, taken from Galatians 5 verse 19 to 21. Have a nice day.